So thank you all for your time, for coming to meet me here, or allowing me to speak to you about our university. And thank you, Moshe, for inviting me to talk to you all. I'd like to start by saying my first rule. And my first rule is that all questions are good questions. This is a time to ask questions. If you ask questions, if you have a question, please ask it, because most likely a number of other people have the same question, but they might be too afraid to ask it. So I'm here to spend time with you, to answer all your questions, to allay any fears that you might have and any worries. And of course, the biggest fear we all have at the moment is coronavirus. Coronavirus in Czech Republic has been a strange course. In the first wave, we were one of the best affected countries because we locked down very early. And so there was very, very few numbers. Then I think as with the rest of the world, we got a little bit complacent and things were totally relaxed back to normal over the summer. So now, of course, we're seeing the repercussions from that. And like in Israel and America and everywhere else, the numbers are back on the rise. Saying that, the numbers per 100,000 population compared to, you know, within Europe, we're quite high. Compared to some places, we're still not as high as certain countries. What's interesting is the numbers of hospitalized and deaths from coronavirus here are still very, very low. It's an interesting topic for research, but it seems that although we aren't getting affected, the majority seems to be a very low virility of infection, and people just having a course of being not feeling too well, cold-like symptoms, and then carrying on. With the university, studies are continuing. We have both online studies and in-person studies continuing. And one of mine and my colleagues' most greatest priorities is that your studies should not be affected, that none of the clinical practical skills which are imperative for you as a doctor to learn, to have, remain in place. And in fact, we are increasing those hours of skills and time in hospital. In some ways, coronavirus has helped us with that, because it's allowing us to bring our medical students into practical education with all the PPE, with all the protection, the masks and everything, during out of hours, and hours when was not traditional teaching time. So in afternoons, in weekends, evenings, nights, holidays. So things are carrying on. I expect we're having a little spike now. It'll go down before Hanukkah, before Christmas, and we'll see what happens for the future. But we're taking it in our stride. I reckon by the time you guys join us here next year, things should be back to normal.
Thank you, Eitan. Allow me to welcome Dana. Dana is a second-year student, general medicine in Charles University. Dana, thank you very much for joining us. We have, in this panel, we have students from Israel. We have students from Scandinavia, United States, and Canada, so we will speak English. Students, thank you very much for joining this panel. And if you have questions, you're welcome to write down the questions in the chat. But we will start with the presentation of Professor Eitan Brozman regarding Charles University. Then you're welcome to ask Eitan questions, and he will answer from the point of view of the leadership of the university, and Dana will answer from the point of view of a student. And I think that this will allow us to gain a lot of very useful information. Eitan, we have more than 80 listeners, so it's a big panel. I'm very happy. Would you like to start your presentation?
Certainly.
Are you able to share your screen with us?
I am not at the moment. It says disabled screen sharing.
Okay, so let me take care of that. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make you co-host.
Okay.
And then you can share your screen. Let's make sure that it's working.
That's wonderful.
Okay, perfect. Eitan, we have 85 listeners. I think that we can start. We will start
Wonderful.
with your presentation, and then students are welcome to ask questions.
Fantastic. Thank you. Dana, thank you also for coming along. I think it's very important that the students have the more valid and accurate opinion and experience as one of our students. And Dana is one of our excellent students now second year, successfully made it through the trials and tribulations of our first year. So Dana, thank you for joining us. Shalom Kulam. Helsinga to our friends from Scandinavia, and hello to everybody else. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our home here at Charles University in Prague. Our university, our old, ancient, prestigious university, which in fact is one of the oldest universities and medical schools in history. So let's start about where are we? So we're based in Czech Republic, or now Czechia, which is the very center of Europe. If you were to put a pin in the epicenter of Europe, then this is where we are. We have a beautiful countryside here, ranging from the forests and all the way through to mountains. We have skiing in the winter, we have rock climbing in the summer, and we have 4 good seasons all the way through, 4 proper seasons. It gets cold in winter and it gets hot in summer. It's not a big country. The population is about 10 million and the religion base is predominantly atheist. And there are some minorities, and there's about, from Israel, there's about 4,000 Jewish population here in Czech Republic, mostly based in Prague. And the variety of every other religion, I'm sure you can imagine are here. Prague, the capital city, based over our beautiful river, the Vltava, which has interesting links, in fact, with Israel, with the Hatikva. The melody for Hatikva is based on the song Vltava, composed by the Czech composer Bedřich Smetana. Czech Republic and Prague are very safe. It's the 8th safest country in the world. And it's a clean country, clean city, people look after it. They have a fetish for graffiti as an art form. But apart from that, the public transport is extremely efficient and extremely cheap. And most importantly, beer here is cheaper than water. So, our faculty. Charles University has 17 different faculties now, of which we, as the first faculty of medicine, were one of the founding 4 faculties, founded in 1348. And we have been ongoing continuous education since 1348, which makes us the oldest medical school in Central Europe and the 11th oldest medical school in the world. We're also the largest medical faculty in the Czech Republic. And there are some other medical schools, other medical faculties in the Czech Republic, which are also very prestigious universities to study in. I'm from London myself. I studied here general medicine from 1998 till 2004, and then went back to the UK, and I'm a consultant surgeon in the UK, and I'm now actually the Vice Dean for International Studies here in Czech Republic, where I'm now based. I do my surgery here as well. In my day, as you can see from this graph, there were not quite so many applicants compared to these days. It's about 1 in 10 these days are offered a place. So the competition is definitely fierce. But it means that you guys are far cleverer than I am. So it's a great honor for me to be working with you and teaching you and helping you to achieve what you're able to achieve. And this equates in numbers that we have 2 main programs. One is general medicine, and the other is dentistry. General medicine is a 6-year course resulting in an MD, and we have a capacity of around about 150 students in the first year. And dentistry, which is a 5-year course, which is also an MD, but it only has about 40 places. We had 20 places for the international students in the past, but because of the demand, we're now increasing that to 40 students as of this year. Where does everybody come from? So we actually have a very large amount of students from Israel. We're very proud of our Israeli students who tend to do better in their exams than the majority of the other students. Probably from the life experiences that many of you have been through, and the fact that you know what you want to do and you're dedicated to your studies and to becoming a doctor and to achieving it. Saying that, we've got some fantastic students from elsewhere in the world, and pretty much every corner of the globe has students that come here, which makes it a wonderful experience, a multinational, multicultural experience here when you are with your colleagues from all these different countries, all these different places. You make friends from all over the world, giving you opportunities to learn about their culture, their history, their society, and go and visit them as well. So apart from our medical studies, the MDs, we are very encouraging for you to do research. And there is a number of PhD, there's even an MD, PhD studies that one can do, or after finishing on your MD, you can then go on to study a PhD, of which we have about 20 subjects you can do also in English. And the background is what we call our Albertov campus, which is a brand new campus being built at the moment within where we have our predominantly preclinical education taking place. That is 400 and something billion crowns being invested into it. There's a lot of money invested into brand new state-of-the-art facilities opening in the next year or two. Because of all the research that we have and because of our colleagues, we actually are rated as the top medical and biomedical research center in the Czech Republic. And our ranking in the global rankings goes along with that. We cooperate internationally with multiple other universities, and in fact, I'm very encouraging of you that not only do you get the opportunity of studying abroad here, but whilst you're here, you should also get the opportunity to experience other cultures, other healthcare systems. Within reason, the more experience that you get, the better you can become, because everywhere you go, you see the pros and cons of each different system, the good and the bad of how things are done. So as long as you fulfill the criteria for your education, we have to guarantee your quality of education, which means passing our exams and fulfilling our syllabus, our curriculum, then I'm fully encouraging for you to go elsewhere to do some of your studies. And a number of our students do go abroad. The majority of our Israeli students, we have some very close relationships with a number of Israeli hospitals. The first one comes to mind is the Asaf and a number of our students in their clinical years will go and spend a semester or longer at Asaf or other hospitals in Israel as part of their education. So the course, it's taught in English. And in fact, in our history, we've always taught in the foreign language. Back from 1348, when we taught in Latin, then through the Austro-Hungarian Empire, it was taught in German as a second language, as well as Czech. And now we have Czech and we have English. This English taught course is about a 30-year history now. The course is taught entirely in English, whether it's medicine or dentistry, it's taught entirely in English. However, of course, the patients are local patients. There's a large expat community here, there's a large Israeli community here, there's a large American community here, and from other places in the world. But the majority of patients that you'll be treating are Czech. And I personally feel it's important that when we come to some country, if someone is ill, then if you were ill in your home country and you go to hospital and you're not feeling well, you've got pain and everything else, you're not going to want to have to communicate with your doctor in a different language to try and, to get them to understand you. So I think it's really important that whilst you're here, we teach you Czech language. We teach you how to communicate, get around town, do your shopping, go traveling. And we also teach you medical Czech, how to communicate with the patients. And ironically, even in my work in the UK, that Czech knowledge has come in phenomenally useful because of the Polish patients, the Slovakian patients, the other patients I came across who couldn't speak in English. And although the languages are different, they're similar enough, the Slavic-based languages are similar enough that we can make each other understood. And it's important that you're coming here for 6 years. For me, that was a quarter of my life when I came here. And it's, you know, you should get integrated in the country. You should love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. Of course, I'm biased. I've come back here, but that's the reason why I've come back here. So how do you get to be with us? The crunch questions. It's a multiple choice paper. 3 topics: biology, chemistry, physics. I'm going to repeat, it's biology, chemistry, and physics. It's not maths, it's physics. There are past papers about, and Dr. Cohen and his colleagues can help you all with past papers and with sample questions, but do the practice questions. The exam is out of 300. It's positively marked, and you need to get a minimum currently of 244 points to pass. The other part of it is interview. Now, the interview is every bit as important as the exam. Not only must you show that you have a base core of knowledge and ability to learn, but you must show that you have communication skills, interpersonal skills, that you have the ability, the maturitism, the professionalism to be a doctor, someone that you can be proud of, that we can be proud of as one of our graduates, and that will be able to interact with patients, will be able to interact with colleagues and staff, will be able to share their knowledge and care for the patients that they'll be treating. So I want to see during your interview that you have this, that you have a knowledge and understanding of the journey that you're undertaking, as in that you have, it's you that wants to be a doctor. It's not that your parents want you to be a doctor or something like that, and that you know what it takes to be a doctor or a dentist. You've got experience, work experience with a doctor or a dentist in a clinic, in a dental practice. That as for dentists, that you have the understanding of the manual dexterity required to be a dentist, that you need to be able to judge within a fraction of a millimeter the depth and the different hardness, strengths of different materials. The difference between enamel and dentine, for instance, is massive. And just to let you know, I'm actually qualified both as a doctor and a dentist. I studied medicine here in Prague, and because I specialize in head, neck, and face surgery, when in the UK, work in the UK, I studied then dentistry at King's College in London. So I'm qualified as both a doctor and a dentist. So I understand entirely what it is to do both. The hard talk, tuition fee. A tuition fee from this year will be 400,000 crowns per academic year. So for new students starting this year, for the duration of your studies, it will be 400,000 per year. Those students who are from America or have an American passport, then there is the US federal, we have full US federal accreditation. We're one of only 20 faculties outside of the States that is fully recognized by America as being an equivalent level quality of education as there. Therefore, the federal government gives a full grant loan scheme to students from America or American passports holders, and pays for their tuition fees as well as I think some living costs as well. Within the course, so the course runs by the European accreditation system. Each subject has a number of credits applied to it. I'm not going to bore you with the details, you'll find this out later on, but essentially we are an old university, we stick with our classical ways, which we found over the 672 years that we've been around works best. So we base on a preclinical 3 years and a clinical 3 years for medicine, or preclinical 2 years for dentistry and a clinical 3 years for dentistry. We have a large hospital on campus, on site, VFM Szczebecna Fakulta Nemocnicy, which translates to General Teaching Hospital. But we also have contracts, we send our students to numerous other hospitals around Prague and around the Czech Republic. And I also, as I say, I encourage you to do rotations in the country, ideally in the country that you want to work in the future, as well as other places. So you understand their healthcare system, the differences. We are encouraging more and more hands-on education, and we're now integrating into our education the USMLE system. so that there are plans for the near future, to start from the very near future, that the credit tests that you sit within your subjects will be based on USMLE exams and questions. We'll have OSCE practical exams where you're actually physically assessing patients as part of your objective exams. And this will mean that if you want to sit USMLE to either go back to Israel or go to the States or other countries that recognize it, you will be best prepared for that. A little kind of further information on the curriculum. If my thing's going to work, it's hung. Let's try that. There we go. So the school year starts October. And this is not all the subjects that you'll be studying. There are other ones, but that's essentially an overview of what the school year will be like. We're split into 2 semesters, the winter semester and the summer semester. Each semester is about 15 weeks with a 4-week exam period in between. The exams here are very different to what the majority of you will be used to. In most universities, you're given a date when you've got your exam. Your exam is on, your anatomy exam will be on the 3rd of July, whether you like it or not. It doesn't work that way here. We give our students the maturity, the option, and the ability to choose to make their own targets and to work towards them. So within reason, the students can choose when they wish to take their exams. So each department will release a number of exam dates, and you will have 3 attempts at each exam. And I'm sure Dana will affirm the exams are not easy, which is why you get 3 attempts at each exam. But you must complete them by the end of the school year. Bearing in mind there is a 4-week exam period where there'll be lots of attempts available. Out with that exam period, it's up to the department whether they've got the facilities to give you, but they will create more, they do create more. The school invariably starts around the 1st week of October, sometimes a little bit early, sometimes last week of September, according to the dates and the plans. And the holidays are the standard ones, a small Christmas break, the standard bank holidays, 2 extra days for the Dean's Day and the Rector's Day, and the long summer vacation. The vacations that you have depend upon you. If you're a good student, then you can take your exams as early as possible, the first dates that become available, and you can have a very long holiday. Or if you don't study throughout the year, if you are a little bit lazy or enjoying a lot of the student life, then you won't get such a long summer holiday. Now, important is one of the other things that we do. So all first year students are offered a place in the dormitories, in the student dorms. Not many students, a lot of students decide, because the faculty is actually right in the very center of Prague, our campus, our faculty base. So many students decide to rent apartments, which are relatively cheap, flat sharing with many friends in the center of Prague. There isn't accommodation where the main hospital campus is. Those are more based towards the outskirts of Prague. There are numerous sporting facilities available, and in fact, there are lots of sports clubs and things that you can join within the university as well as outside. And we have a very active student participation for other activities. There's an annual ball, in fact there's 2 annual balls, a number of parties which I know nothing about. And we've created even job fairs and research events to aid you in getting jobs upon graduation. So many of our students actually have offers of employment before they've graduated. MedSoc is our student union. They will fight for you till the end of days, and on your behalf, they will help you resolve any problems. It's run by students for students. And we also have, introducing this year, a student counsellor. Student counsellor is a lady who is there for all students to discuss any personal problems, any personal issues, be it with school or outwise, that they're struggling with. It's not easy to come abroad, to go to a different culture, different language, different country, away from your friends and family. So we want to have the support services in place for you. And what's most important about the student counsellor is that anything that you discuss with her, everything you discuss with her stays between you and her and does not come back to the faculty, does not go into any university records, any notes. It is just between you and her. So she's trained in nutrition, she's trained in other things. We have students whose diet based on McDonald's. So she'd educate people on healthy body, healthy mind, how to eat, how the students can eat for not expensive, healthily. And she would work with students on study plans. She helps students with breakups with their significant other partners or friendship problems. But she's there for you to use to help you in every way. So I always say that to be able to work hard, you need to play hard. And Prague is that city where you can achieve it. And within an hour of Prague, just over an hour of Prague, there is the skiing slopes where every winter, COVID providing, we have ski lessons and ski clubs. Students go skiing. That's where I learned to ski, in fact, when I was a student here. I think it's enough of me warbling on to you guys. I think it's more important maybe that you ask questions and you hear from Dana about what it's really like. So thank you for your time, thank you for your interest, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Eitan. Before we take questions, Dana, do you want to give us your overall point of view?
So I actually experienced only 1 year now. I'm in the beginning of the second year, and well, as any med school, you should prepare your hard work. And if you thought that you work hard, so you need to work harder. But as much as you're satisfied and you're doing well, and I think that basically all the Israelis are doing very well, and also from other countries. And if you're motivated and you study good, and even if you fail, you have another attempt and you pass this year. So just be a good student. And if you guys have any questions about everything, so just ask.
Dana, one of the questions that students are always asking about Charles, they hear rumors that it's extremely difficult, like almost impossible to pass. What is your point of view on this as a student?
So I think that I'm the proof that it's okay to pass even when it's hard. I think that every first year, not even in medical school, would be a tough year because it's new, the term of the university, and I'm a student, and how to schedule my time. And also, well, medicine is like very autodidactic, so you need to base yourself for those studies. And I think that all pass, and if you don't pass, then you're really something special because it's not that hard. I mean, you study most of your time, but you also have time for friends and for cooking and for doing sports and doing everything that makes you be also a person and not only a student, a med student.
Eitan, do you want to take this question as well?
Happily. I agree with Dana. I mean, guys, medicine is not easy. I think if everyone passed, if we let everyone pass, then there'll be questions. This is not a university where you can pay for your degree. We hold ourselves with the highest of respect. We're one of the top 1% of medical schools globally, our ranking. We need to maintain our level of quality, which means that we will push you to be the best that you can be. Saying that, we will help you with every way we can to pass. The greatest reason why students don't pass the first year is because they don't actually attend the exam. And this goes back to the fact that you get to choose when you take the exams. If you don't come to the exam, you can't pass it. If you at least come to the exam and try it, then you never know. You might get lucky with your questions. If you don't get lucky, at least you learn what the exam is like for next time. But the greatest reason why people don't make it through is because they don't actually attend. So it's not easy. No medical school is easy. But we want you to be the best because we want you to have the greatest reputation, to have the greatest career and we want to enable you and help you achieve that.
Thank you, Ethan. Dana, one very frequent question is about the relationship between the students in the university. Is it competitive? Do you support one another? How do you see that as a student?
Well, I guess that none of you have experienced like student life, but we study hard, and before all this epidemic situation, so there are many libraries and coffees in this town. And even if you like to study alone as much as I do, I also go to the library to see other students. I think it's better to see my friends learning when I'm learning also, and not to be alone in the situation. And for first year, I see there's a question about the adoption process. Well, as mentioned before, there's the MedSoc. Most of them are fourth year and also second year and third year. And you guys will have for each class your guides, and they will be able to answer you and help you through all this year. They will give you from PDFs to phone numbers and will help you with the material, and you always have someone to ask from second year till sixth year. So don't worry about that.
If I can add to that, from the faculty perspective, your exams are graded. There are 4 possible grades: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is excellent, 2 is very good, 3 is good, 4 is fail. There is no rule from the faculty about how many 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s that we need to give. It would be my greatest pleasure if I could give every student that came to me and it was examined by me a 1. And that sentiment is echoed by my colleagues. If you come to me with the knowledge, you will get the 1. There is no competition. There should not be any competition between the students. The students, I'm very keen to work together for, and that's why I love it when I hear, like Dana was saying, about the students, the relationship they have. And in fact, I've got evidence showing that the year groups, when the years were very coherent and stuck together and shared their information, studied together, they succeeded in their exams. They got better grades. They succeeded in exams far greater than the years that were a bit more in different peaks. So the real competition starts when you graduate, because then you are competing for jobs with everyone else. So I want to make you the most competitive of candidates for those jobs, to make you in the best position to be the first choice for any employer to get you those jobs. So you should be the first one they choose. But within university, you know, guys, you've got to have fun. You have to relax and be able to concentrate on your work. It's really good to work together. And you know, university life is not just about studying the subject that you've chosen to study, medicine or dentistry, it's about education of life, education in so many different fields. So MedSoc are there for you from the start. They're there to help you, and the university, the facilities should be there as well. But you know, the students know the best about how to look after each other, and MedSoc is wonderful with that. And you've got some great students like Dana and other students in the older years who will be looking after you. They've been through what you're going through, and they will help you through it.
Eitan, thank you for your answer. One of the questions that is frequently asked is, what is the difference between the different faculties of Charles University?
Okay.
So why should I choose first faculty and not second, third, fourth, etc.?
Do you want my biased answer or the so the biased answer is, of course, we are the best. Charles University has 17 faculties, of which 5 faculties are actually medical. First, second, and third all exist in Prague, in different areas of Prague. Fourth faculty is in a beautiful small town called Kralove, which is about 45 minutes drive from Prague. And fifth faculty is in second city, Pilsen, yes, where the beer comes from. all are Charles University. You all graduate with a Charles University degree. First faculty, we are the oldest, we have the greatest history, we have the greatest prestige, we have the greatest reputation, both within the country and externally. But all faculties offer you a Charles University degree. There are slight differences in the courses. For instance, the third faculty offers more of the problem-based learning course. But apart from that, we are very similar. And I hope, especially from the student perspective, there's a lot of cooperation. The students generally mix and mingle in a social aspect. And I'm actually working on greater cooperation for international students from the faculty base as well. But essentially, what often happens is students will, we are the hardest faculty. Because of our reputation, our that goes before us, it's generally the hardest to get into is our faculty, and with the greatest benefits from that. But I don't want to take away anything from my colleagues in the second, third, fourth and fifth faculties. They are absolutely first-class facilities, and I highly recommend them as well.
Dana, can you tell us something as a student on your life, on your student life? I mean, not studies, sport, clubs. What can you tell us? What can you tell the students in this regard?
Okay, so this year is not better for social life. As you see, I'm in quarantine. My flatmate is tested positive, but was last year. There are periods that you have like your weekly test and you don't have much time to spend with your friends, but there comes the release of the pressure, and you have, if you like parties, Prague offers you very good parties, European parties, something different from what you know in Israel, and I love it. And also you have, if you're addicted to gym, if you're addicted swimming, we have even like a nice beach on the river when it gets summer here in Prague. We have good days here also. What else? Also the clubs that Metsoc is offering you if you like hiking, biking, ski as mentioned here. I think all the options are open, and the reason that I picked Prague before I thought about studying at first faculty was it's a capital city, and a beautiful capital city, and very much to see, a lot.
Thank you, Dana. We have a question from Yuval about your experience with the entrance exam. How was the preparation? How relevant it was for your exam? And can you give the students tips for the entrance exams?
So first of all, study hard. I think the studies are 4 months, something like that. Am I right? So take those 4 months seriously, and if you haven't studied like chemistry or physics at school, so be prepared to study hard, because you do need to know that for the entrance exam, and also you will need some previous knowledge when you enter the faculty. Study together. I really love studying alone, but then it's always good a repetition with your study buddy. Find your study buddy. Because when you speak about anatomy or, I don't know, like biology of the cell, it's better to hear your other colleagues and share your information and what you studied last night. And don't be afraid to ask questions, and like really study hard. That's the only thing. Study hard and you will enter. I remember that not everyone have passed, but who did study hard and prepared well here with me. So don't be afraid of that, just work hard.
Just to add to that if I can, I think what Dana is saying is very important. All exams in this university culminate in a viva, an oral exam. And there's a very good reason for that. There may be other parts to exams. There may be practical tests, there may be multiple choice tests, but every single exam will end in a viva, an oral exam. And the reason for that is, in my almost 20 years of clinical practice, I've never had a patient come to me and say, Dr. Brisman, could you write me a 4-page essay about my medical problem? Doesn't happen. I've never had a patient come to me and say, Dr. Brisman, could you fill in this multiple choice questionnaire about my medical problem? That's never happened. What happens every single time I see every single patient is I'm examined by them orally. Dr. Brisman, tell me about this problem. Please explain to me this. How am I going to get through? What are the treatment options? So every time I see every patient, I get vivaed by them, I get examined by them orally. And that means that we need to train you to be ready for that. Now, oral exams are subjective. The patient interaction that you have is subjective. That's life. And the point of university education is to train you, to get you ready for life. Life is not always fair, but the better preparation that you have, the more likely you are to be successful. And this goes entirely with what Dana was saying. If you are meeting with your friends, with your colleagues, and you are interacting orally, viva each other, you examine each other in mock exams, or what it's going to be like in your actual exams, then you'll be far better prepared for the exam when it happens. So work together, study together. Of course, you need to spend some time getting the knowledge in, studying alone, but absolutely study together. And, you know, it's always better when you're with someone than sharing your problems, sharing a beer, coffee, whatever else.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. Dana, you're asked about your experience in studying Czech. Is it very difficult? How do you feel with it?
Okay, so if you guys speak Russian, then you're good, because you have like advantage on others. Czech is tough, but like it's compatible with studying it. Like you need to study like more anatomy, less Czech, but you need to study Czech. And I don't think that it's study, it's just talking. It sounds funny, but we actually, even when I go to the supermarket or when I order something and I call someone, I am not afraid to speak Czech, even if my Czech is not so good. I'm not afraid to speak, to hear, to watch even some Czech songs. It helps, but it's fine. Like everyone pass a Czech exam.
So it's not extremely difficult.
Everything is possible, and it's not extremely difficult. It's possible.
Czech language is, you know, the grammar, Czech grammar is unbelievably difficult, but the Czechs have trouble with their own grammar. I mean, to know the difference between E and E, which for me sounds identical, even the Czechs often don't realize, and one is a Y, one is an I. They understand that, they know that we're foreigners, and they take that into account. They're really happy that you're trying. It's such a lovely thing that you try and speak the language. And the more that you try, the more that you'll be able to. So I think, as Dana said, you pop into the supermarket, you say, please, thank you, how much is, and it just comes. And then you make friends with the Czech students, you go down to the pub or to the park or doing sports and things with them. It comes along really well. Your studies, all your education, all your lectures, all your seminars, all your practicals are in English. But if you're coming to this country, one of the beauties of coming to another country is to experience their culture, experience their way of life, how it's different, to learn about it. So it's really important that you do integrate yourself with society and with the language that you'll be living in.
Thank you. Eitan, there is a question for you. Do you think that studying in Charles 1 will give me an advantage when I'm later on looking to specialize in a prestigious hospital?
It's an interesting, the way the question comes across is very interesting. So in Charles first faculty versus other faculties, or Charles University versus other universities in the world? So,
Charles first faculty, yes. Yes, please.
I think that it depends on how you study. You've got to look at how you're studying, what you're looking for. If you want to study in a big city and you like the metropolis lifestyle, then Prague would be better than a small city, smaller town. If you get on better with more rural environments, then maybe the fourth faculty, Harris, might be better for you. For job prospects, I work very hard to make sure that you will have the best prospects upon graduation. That's why I created this job fair. That's why I work with Moshe hard about not just getting you in, not just whilst you're with us, but when you come out the other side, I want you to have the very best prospects the rest of your life and your career. For me, as a first faculty graduate, I worked majority of my life in the UK. I was a consultant surgeon at one of the top London teaching hospitals. Theoretically, I'm still a teaching examiner at UCL Medical School. And I was a consultant surgeon at the Royal Free in London. So a lot of our alumni have reached the highest positions in their careers throughout the world. I have many colleagues who have success in Germany, in Greece, in America, the countries are innumerable around the world. The idea is to give you the best education, to work with you, to give you the best opportunities wherever you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Dana, there is a question about accommodation. Why did you choose an apartment and not the dormitories?
I think most Israeli take the apartment and not the dormitories. Prices are convenient, I think. You can find whether very expensive or very cheap. And most of the flats that I've been and saw in very good condition, very nice house owners. It's nice to live with a flatmate, or if you want to live alone. And I think that also Professor Sedmera said something like very right last year, that most Israelis are after finishing army, and some of us also experience how is living with a flatmate. And I think that we're more mature. Most of us are 22, 23 and above, 26, and more appropriate like to live in your own base flat. But I also know there are Israelis in the dorms of the faculty. I don't know if they stayed here, but I have friends. Most of them are from India and the UK, and they live for their second year in the dorms, and all are happy. So you just need to choose.
Thank you.
The dorms are available for all students for all years, realistically, if they want to. And it's cheap. It's a certain type of lifestyle living there. When I came here, I stayed in dorms for the first 6 months, I think, of living here. My reason for coming to the centre was that some of our lessons start very, very early. There's a lot of stuff to fit in. And in my day, we had anatomical dissections on the cadavers starting at 7:30 a.m. on a Friday morning. And I was never a good morning person. And it used to be, at that time, for the public transport, it would take me an hour and a bit to get to university, which meant, getting up at 5:30 to get here in time. So I rented with some friends an apartment about 5 minutes walk from the faculty, if that, so I can literally just roll out of bed and come here. But also, you know, the faculty is literally right in the very centre of Prague. So the tourist area, everything else. So when you flat share, you can live in a very nice, high quality life. It's a wonderful thing with your friends. And especially as Dana was saying, with more mature students, it's just more of a normal life to live. And it's not that much more expensive. You're right close to the restaurants, the clubs, the cafes, the bars, the facilities.
Thank you. Eitan, can you please provide information about scholarships, if you have any, and about funding for American citizens?
Okay, so anybody with American citizenship, an American passport, they get full federal grant, full federal loans. The American government, we go through a very rigorous procedure annually on assessment of our degree and our education that we provide. Because of that, we are one of, I think, only 20 faculties outside of the US that's recognized by the US Federal Department of Education as giving an equivalent education to that which an American medical school would give. So it's quite a prestigious feat for that. And that goes alongside our USMLE results. Annually, our USMLE results are some of the best. So our students are very successful with their studies, with their continuation of their graduation. So from a US perspective, you're treated as if you are studying in a US medical school. So you'd have to do just the same things a US student in a school in the States would have to do, which is the USMLE and application from there. So we have federal accreditation, which means you can apply for the US federal loan scheme and California accreditation and various other things as well. So our students have no problems going in, and they usually get quite high rankings. They get quite high selection choice within the States upon return. As for scholarships, those students who get, with the gradings for the exams, those students who get straight ones in their exams do get a scholarship every year for their studies. And we're looking at actually expanding that to a much larger amount in the near future.
And what is the scholarship amount for those who get straight A's?
I think it's currently about $1,000, I think. About 20 to 30,000 crowns. Donna actually might know you better than I do for that. She was a very good student. It's something in the region of 20 to 30,000 crowns, I understand.
Yeah, approximately there.
Okay. Dana, is it possible to work during your studies?
Yeah, I'm also writing the answer, but I answer early. I think that first year is impossible only if you're very special and very, very smart, or you know the material before, because most of your time you study. I think that from third year, it's possible like have babysitting or finding something online. My flatmate is third year, and well, he's just started, but he's working online and it's fine with his schedule. But for first year, I think it's like impossible to do that. You need to sleep as well.
There are jobs available. You are allowed to work. I agree with Dana. I think, you know, especially in your first year, you need to get used to the way the studies are here. You need to get used to studying university is very different to studying high school. And you need to make it through. Once you get into that pattern, that rhythm, you understand what it is to study university life, then you'll be able to plan your time better. When I was a student, during the school year, during day to day, I wouldn't work in the Czech Republic. But as soon, I would make sure that I was studying the whole time during the school year. So I'd be in the first cohort of students to do my exams and finish my exams. And I'd be going home, and I'd have a Christmas break. I'd have then the break in between semesters, which is in the month of February, and then a long several months in the summer. And I'd always come home, and I used to work as a nurse, predominantly at Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital in London. and earn my money that way, get medical experience whilst earning money to help pay for everything. Just one more thing about the scholarships. With the scholarship, this is not just a one-time thing. It's every year, how you're doing, you do get that scholarship. So as long as you keep getting the extra results, you can get it all 6 years for that.
Thank you. We have a question from a student from the States. Is the university's postgraduate certificate accredited in America and Canada, or do I need to amend it?
Depends what you mean by postgraduate certificate. So the diploma, the MD, is fully recognized in the States. All you need to do, you are literally counted as if you've done, as if you transplant Charles University in Prague into the States. So all you do is the USMLE, as you would do elsewise, the application process with it, and it's fully recognized. The PhD programs are also, we have a lot of collaboration with many universities in the States, like Harvard and a couple of others, where there's even some dual degrees. There's some, with some American universities and some, Oxford and Cambridge, we do a dual degree, a dual diploma, and other universities around the world. This is, you're talking, this is a red brick Ivy League university. First faculty is the top. It is one of the top 1% of medical schools in the world. That's who you're coming to, and that's the quality, degree, and reputation you'll be coming to. So it's fully recognized around the world.
Dana, all of the students who are listening to you, all of them are prospective students, so they're still they didn't do the entrance exam yet. Do you have any last tip to give them for their preparation or for choosing a university? Do you have any last tip to give them?
Okay, so first about choosing the university, don't choose it because your friend from class is going to this university. Think that 6 years will pass and you will eventually finish and get your doctorate degree. And you need to think whether it's more good for you or not. You'll find friends anywhere. Actually, all my friends went to Kaunas, and at the first week of the studies here, I was like pretty alone, but then I met my friends, and you make a lot of friends and a lot of Israelis and non-Israelis here. So don't be bothered about social life. About the study, you learn anatomy, biology, physics, and chemistry. So my tip is to divide it. Don't study everything in one day. Like do 2 days of chemistry, 2 days of physics, like do some rotations, because you need also time to like understand what you've learned last night or last week. And when the material comes above each other, then you see the whole picture. So don't be bothered if you're only 1 month away from the entrance exam and you don't feel really prepared. You never feel really prepared, but you need to be very confident and tell yourself that you did all your best, you study hard, you worked hard, and just follow the schedule. As I remember, Moshe has a nice schedule, and I follow this schedule. Like Tuesdays, chemistry, Thursdays, physics, on weekend, I will do some biology. It works, so just follow that.
Thank you. Eitan, we have one last question from a student who is still in high school. And we always tell them, you can do the entrance exam while you are a senior year in high school, but you do have to provide the diploma prior to the beginning of the first year. Can you confirm that?
I agree, yes. I hadn't finished my A-levels when I took the entrance exam here. Many students, I was just turned 18 when I came to Prague, and I had a few more hairs on my head in those days, only a few. Guys, people are coming at it from all different walks of life. That's the beauty, one of the beauties of studying here, is that we have these fantastic mature students like Dana, who have experienced their army service, experienced more of life, and we have fresh-faced young people like myself who come in straight, when they're 18 and work their way through. Being a medical professional, be it a doctor or dentist, it's about being with people. We also need researchers, we also need other things, and we accept those as well. But the vast majority of you want to come in to practice in clinical medicine. And for that, you need to have personal skills. So it means you need to be able to get on with, interact with all different types, ages, genders, religion, race. What doesn't make a difference? We're all people. So we understand that, we accept that. We need to have a certain level of knowledge to be able to start medical school, to start you off at pretty much the same level. And for that, we need you to finish your high school education. But you don't have to finish your high school education to take the entrance exam to pass the interview. If you're able to pass it, as Dana was saying, if you're able to study for it and to pass it, we need to know that you were able to complete your high school diploma, your SATs, your matriculation exams, your A-levels. But that we can accept. You often they come out in the summer after the entrance exam. So as long as you finish them, as long as you get those results, we can work on your predicted grades if you have them, and then just provide us the diplomas before enrollment.
Thank you. Eitan, can you give one final tip to the students who are currently preparing themselves for the entrance exams?
I think as Dana said, study wisely. And studying wisely, it doesn't mean trying to dig yourself deep into just one subject and over-concentrating on that. I think Moshe's system is wonderful. It's really a huge advantage for you students. We have students that apply from all over the world, and you've got a wonderful advantage with Moshe and what he provides you. It's really second to none, honestly. It is top class. Follow what Dana said, her advice. And then from the interview side, make sure that you know what you're getting into. Medicine is not like any other career, medicine and dentistry. They are very much a vocation. They're very much, the moment that you get into medical school, you will have all your friends and their aunts and uncles and grandparents asking you, oh, you're going to be a doctor. I've got this pain. You'll be day one of medical school. Maybe you haven't even started, but you're going to medical school. You, of course, are expected to know everything. I want you to know about this life. I get a phone call from friends at 3 o'clock in the morning asking me for help and advice on certain things. It's a life that you'll be leading. You need to know what, the life is like, what being on call in hospital is like, or emergency dental care is like, about, for manual dexterity for dentistry. If you understand art and crafts, you then might understand the manual dexterity involved for the fraction of a millimeter difference that you need. If you've shadowed, if you've nursed, if you've been in a nursing home or done hospital shadowing, more to understand from the medical perspective. I want people who are balanced individuals, who will be successful in their career, whom we can help to succeed, to become the greatest researchers, scientists, doctors, dentists in society in the future. You are our future. So it's so important that we help you to become the best that you can be. That's what I want to see from your interview, that you know about us, about our faculty, about our university, about Prague, Czech Republic, the student life here, and about the subject that you're going to be getting into.
Professor Eitan Brozman, thank you very much for joining us today. Dana, thank you very much and good luck on your second year. Students, thank you very much for listening. We value your participation very much, and I hope that you learned a lot. I wish all of you a very good weekend and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much to all of you. Those who come from abroad and still are looking to receive details from Diego will stay with you. But otherwise, we are done for today. Thank you very much, all of you. Eitan, thank you very much. Dana, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I'll see all of you very soon.
Thanks a lot.